I still remember the exact smell of the leather when I first sat in it. That perfect, untouched, new car scent that only comes once. Pearl white 2024 BMW X5. Panoramic roof, night vision camera, every single option ticked. I had paid cash. $112,000 that I clawed together over 4 brutal years of night shifts, holidays, and skipped vacations as an ER nurse. My name alone on the title. My name alone on the registration. My name alone on the insurance. I even kept the paperwork in a fireproof box under my side of the bed because I had learned the hard way never to trust anyone completely, not even the man I married. Mark came running out barefoot when I pulled into the driveway that first evening, eyes wide like a kid on Christmas. He circled it twice, trailing his fingers over the paint like he couldn't believe it was real. "Baby, you actually did it," he whispered, pulling me into a hug. "I'm so proud of you." I believed him. God, I actually believed him. 2 weeks later, I worked a double shift that turned into a triple because of a pileup on the interstate. I dragged myself home at 4:17 a.m., scrubs wrinkled, feet screaming, dreaming of my bed and the sight of my beautiful car sleeping in the garage. Except the driveway was empty. Not just empty of my car, empty of any car. The garage door was closed, but I already knew. I dropped my bag on the porch and dialed him. It rang 6 times before he picked up, voice thick with sleep and something else I couldn't name yet. "Where is my car, Mark?" A pause. Then the sigh I would come to hate. Mom's transmission finally died. I lent it to her for a few days. "Relax, Lauren." "Relax?" My voice cracked like ice on a pond. "That's my car, my name, my money." "It's just a car," he said, and the way he said "just" felt like a slap. "Family helps family. You know how sick she is. She has Medicaid transport. She has Uber. She has legs. Lauren, don't be selfish. It's temporary." I hung up before I said something that couldn't be taken back. I stood on the porch in the cold until my fingers went numb around the phone. Then I texted the one person who had never ever let me down. Me. "Dad, I need you. Dad, leaving the house now." My father pulled up 43 minutes later in his 15-year-old silver Tacoma. The one with the dent in the fender he refuses to fix because character builds character. He stepped out, still wearing his courtroom slacks and cardigan. Gray hair, perfect, eyes calm the way they get, right before he drops a gavel on someone's future. He didn't hug me. He simply looked at me and said, "Tell me everything." Slowly. So I did. Every detail. When I finished, he opened the passenger door, took out a slim leather briefcase, and laid the contents on the hood of his truck under the porch light. My grandmother's will, the certified copy of the title, the paid-in-full receipt from the dealership, and the registration card that said Lauren E. Harlan in bold letters. He studied them the way a chess player studies a board right before checkmate. Then he took out his phone and dialed a number from memory. "Tommy," he said quietly. "Judge Harlan here. I'm reporting a stolen vehicle." He didn't shout. He didn't need to. My father's voice on that call was the same tone he used for 30 years on the bench. Soft, polite, and absolute. "Tommy, it's Judge Harlan. White 2024 BMW X5, plate LRN 0515, taken without owner consent. Last seen at 1427 Oak Ridge Lane, Eleanor Harlan's address. Owner is my daughter, standing right here with title in hand. Yes, I'm authorizing immediate recovery. Thank you, Deputy." He ended the call, slipped the phone into his cardigan pocket and looked at me. "Coffee?" he asked, as if he'd just ordered flowers. We sat at the kitchen island while the sky turned from black to bruised purple. At 6:08 a.m., my phone buzzed with a ring notification from Eleanor's doorbell camera, the one Mark installed for her last Mother's Day. I opened it and turned the screen so Dad could watch too. Eleanor answered the door in her purple velour robe, hair in curlers, clutching my key fob like it was the Holy Grail. 2 deputies stood on her welcome mat shaped like a sunflower. "Ma'am, step away from the vehicle, please. This is my son's car. There's been a mistake." "No mistake, ma'am. Title holder is Lauren Harlan. You're in possession of stolen property." Mark came stumbling out in boxers and yesterday's t-shirt, hair wild, phone already to his ear trying to reach me. 17 missed calls already. The deputies didn't care. One hooked the tow truck while the other took a statement Eleanor kept trying to interrupt with dialysis appointments and how that girl never loved my son anyway. Neighbors were out on their lawns in robes and slippers, filming on phones. Someone's ring light caught Mark's face perfectly as the X5 was winched onto the flatbed. Pure, pale panic. Eleanor started crying those big theatrical sobs she saves for family gatherings when she wants the attention back on her C. Dad sipped his coffee. "That's the sound of consequences arriving on time," he said. By the time I showered and changed, the car was already in the sheriff's impound, waiting for me. I drove Dad there in his Tacoma. Tommy met us at the gate, handed me the keys, and winked. "Judge, you still scare the hell out of us, sir." Dad just smiled the small smile that used to make defendants wet themselves. I ran my hand over the hood. No scratches, no coffee stains from Eleanor's endless styrofoam cups. Still mine, completely mine. Mark got home at 10:42 p.m. that night. I know because I watched him on the front door camera too. He looked like he'd been dragged through a war zone. He tried his key. Nothing. Tried again. I had the locks changed while he was busy apologizing to half the neighborhood. He knocked, soft at first, and harder. "Lauren, please open the door. We need to talk." I sat on the couch in the dark, legs tucked under me, sipping chamomile. I said nothing. He slid down the door until he was sitting on the welcome mat. Voice muffled through the wood. "Mom's car is going to cost almost 10 grand to fix. She has no way to get to dialysis. The neighbors are all talking. I look like an idiot." Still nothing from me. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't think you'd go this far. That was the part that almost broke me, not the apology." But the fact he fought there was a far I wasn't willing to go to protect what was mine. I finally spoke, calm and close to the door so he could hear every word. "You didn't think. That's always been the problem, Mark." Silence for a long time, then the soft sound of him crying. I didn't move. The next morning I woke up to 93 text messages, some begging, some angry, some bargaining. I archived the thread without reading most of them. At 8:15 a.m. sharp, a white medical transport van pulled to Eleanor's house. The driver got out, unfolded a wheelchair ramp, and helped her down the steps. Dad had arranged a full year of prepaid door-to-door service, non-cancelable, non-transferable, billed directly to an account Mark would never even see. I watched the van pull away from my bedroom window and felt something loosen in my chest. For the first time in 24 hours, Mark showed up at the house around noon, looking like he'd been hit by a freight train. His eyes were red-rimmed, shirt untucked, and he carried a greasy paper bag from the diner down the street. My favorite blueberry muffins, the kind he used to bring home on Sundays, when we were still pretending everything was fine. He stood on the porch like a lost puppy, knocking softly this time. I let him in because Dad had texted me earlier. Let him speak, then decide. He set the bag on the counter and collapsed into a chair. "Lauren, I screwed up, bad." I leaned against the fridge, arms crossed. "That's an understatement." "Mom." She pushed me, said it was an emergency, that you'd understand. I didn't even think about the title. "You didn't think about me," I corrected. "That's worse." He rubbed his face with both hands. "You're right. I took you for granted. Again. This wasn't our first rodeo. 2 years ago, he'd lent my vacation fund to Eleanor for a new fridge without asking. Last Christmas, He invited her to stay for a month when I was recovering from surgery. Always the same excuse. She's family. As if I wasn't. What now? He asked, voice small. I slid a folder across the table. Inside, printouts of his bank statements, the transfer I'd made, $9,400 exactly to the mechanic shop. His personal savings, the one he kept just in case, from his poker nights and side gigs. Gone. His face went slack. How? Your password is still our wedding date. Sloppy Mark. That's my money. Was, I said. Now it's fixing the problem you created. Family helps family, right? He stared at the papers like they might bite. Then he looked up, and for the first time in our marriage, I saw real fear in his eyes. Not anger, not defensiveness. Fear. What else did you do? Nothing you need to worry about. The van for your mom? Paid for a year. Non-refundable. She gets to dialysis without touching my car ever again. He exhaled slowly. Dad's dealing? Mine. I lied, but only a little. Dad had suggested it, but I pulled the trigger. We sat in silence for what felt like hours, but was probably 10 minutes. The clock on the wall ticked louder than usual. Finally, he stood up. I'll sleep in the guest room. Give you space. I nodded. Change your passwords while you're at it. He paused at the door to the stairs. I love you, you know. I know, I said, but I didn't say it back. The next few days blurred into a strange routine. Mark tiptoed around the house like a ghost, doing dishes without being asked, folding laundry, even cooking dinner. My favorites, no takeout. Eleanor called once, her voice quivering. Lauren, dear, thank you for the van and the car fix. I didn't mean to cause trouble. I almost laughed. Yes, you did, but it's done now. A long pause. Take care of my boy. He'll survive. Work became my escape. In the ER, things were black and white. Save the patient or don't. No gray areas like home. My colleagues noticed the new energy. I volunteered for extras, stayed late charting. One night, after a tough code blue, my charge nurse pulled me aside. You okay, Harlan? You look fierce. I smiled, bringing some things. 3 weeks in, Mark cornered me in the kitchen. We need to talk. Really talk. I poured coffee. Go ahead. I'm sorry for everything. Mom's always been like this, guilting me into stuff. But that's no excuse. I should have your back. Should have, I echoed. He reached for my hand. I let him. What do I need to do to fix this? Change, I said simply. Prove it. He nodded, eyes wet. I will. That night, I heard him on the phone with Eleanor, voice firm for the first time. Mom, no more. Lauren's car is off limits. Everything is. We're handling our own problems now. I stood outside the guest room door, listening, and felt a tiny crack in the wall I'd built. Not forgiveness yet, but possibility. Dad came over for dinner a month later. Mark grilled steaks, set the table nice. Over pie, Dad looked at him across the table. You learned something? Mark met his eyes. Yes, sir. Never again. Dad nodded once. Good. As Dad left, he hugged me tight. You did good, kid. Proud of you. Thanks to you, I whispered. He shook his head. All you. I just made the call. I drive that X5 every day now. The leather's broken in. Got a few miles on it. Trips to the lake, solo drives just because. Mark watches from the window sometimes, but he smiles now. Real smiles. Eleanor's Buick runs like new. The van driver's her new best friend. And me? I sleep better knowing some lines can't be crossed. Life settled into a new normal after that. Mark kept his word. He changed. No more lending without asking. No more Eleanor pulling strings from afar. He even set boundaries with her, scheduling visits instead of open-door policies. Therapy helped. We went together twice a week, unpacking years of resentment like old boxes in an attic. He admitted his flaws. I admitted mine. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. Eleanor adapted too. The van became her lifeline, and she started sending thank you cards, actual handwritten ones. For the first time. Dear Lauren, one read, "You've taught me gratitude. Love, Mom." I framed it as a reminder. The X5? It's more than a car now. It's my symbol of boundaries. I take it on solo road trips, windows down, music blasting. Last summer, I drove to the coast alone, parked on a cliff, and watched the waves crash for hours. No guilt, no rush. Dad visits often. Over coffee, he shares old courtroom stories, always ending with, "Justice isn't loud. It's certain." I get it now. One evening, Mark found me in the garage, waxing the hood under the fluorescents. He leaned on the doorframe, watching. "Still love that thing?" "More than ever," I said. He smiled. "Good, you earned it." We shared a quiet dinner that night. No phones, no distractions. Laughter came easier. Looking back, that one phone call didn't just get my car back, it reclaimed me. From entitlement, from being taken for granted. Mark's speechless face that day? Priceless. But the real win was the silence after, the space where growth happened. If you're reading this, remember, sometimes all it takes is one call to rewrite your story. Mine's better now, stronger. And the drive? Smooth as ever.